we go. Try again. Game man, TheSuffolkRam here from our nerds. I'm not alone. Skazz is here. He's just wandered off. So he shall be joining us shortly, and then we shall begin. That could be half the trouble. Hopefully that'll prove that. Apparently I had 2 copies of OBS running, which I think might be causing half the issues that we've been having. Hopefully that'll sort itself out. So he shall be joining us shortly, and then we shall begin. While he's away, I'm just going to have a silence track. Guys,
yeah,
we're streaming.
Are we?
Yeah, you told me to stream. Yeah,
no,
I'm all by myself. I'm scared.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Help.
No.
Help.
No.
Help.
I thought you were ready for this.
I was.
I thought you were good.
I've got
yourself up, man.
I've got stage fright.
No.
Can you stop reading me my lines?
No.
Oh.
I'll be there in a second, Charlie Brown.
There's quite a delay on this. There's a good minute delay.
Are we still streaming on YouTube?
Yeah?
Oh, interesting. I think at some point what we might have to do is dual stream.
Yeah, we talked about that before, didn't we?
Yeah, I forgot to set that up though. What did we set up?
We used Restream once or twice, we had a lot of trouble with it.
Oh, right, okay. I couldn't remember.
It kept crashing on us, we kept losing, it kept dropping streams.
Oh, interesting. It should be better now. I mean, I used it for a while and it was alright, and then obviously I got my contract and I weren't allowed to anymore. Stupid contract.
See, you sold out, that's your trouble.
I did. And look at how I live my life now after making my millions.
Yeah, you got those advertising contracts.
Yeah, it's insane. I got my own video games, got my own clothing line.
Essential Skazz.
Yeah, that's it.
When's the aftershave coming out?
Well, see, that's the thing. We've been trying to find a way to market it, but it's kind of hard when you've got a big old fucking bearded bloke on the front of it.
Yeah. What's it going to be? Does it smell of blue smoke?
Yes.
From electronics?
Yes.
That's relive the spell of a new piece of hardware in your machine. That is.
You've got over the fresh electronic smell as it comes out the bag. You know, after they've like sealed it.
Yeah.
You crack open that.
And when you first switch it on.
And then you've got blue smoke.
Yeah.
That's your follow-up.
Yeah.
So you have to like pick whatever you're in the mood for, you know?
That is the underwritten, one of the nicest things about a new PC. When you say build a new PC, put it together, first when you switch it on, you get a lovely smell of new electronics.
Like,
smell the carcinogenics.
And people are like, you probably shouldn't be snippy, so yeah, I'll be fine.
It's like new car smell, isn't it?
It is a new car. Oh, see, that's a trick I wouldn't know. I've never had a new car.
You've missed out.
Well, I've had a new bike helmet smell.
That's probably very similar. So it gets all sweaty and smelly and...
Hey, at least I ain't got fucking McDonald's jammed in the fucking sides of it.
What did you say?
McDonald's and fucking coffee and...
What did you say about my car? Have you
It's
know
fucking funny, actually, because we speak about random shit in cars. My boys went to the mums, I was going to say to the nannies today.
Oh, thank you.
And she asked the littlest one if he has his drink, and he was like, yeah, but then he went and handed her 2 other drinks, and was like, these ones are old. And there were just these 2 old cups of Pepsi in the back of her car.
Right, now I know you, Frank, because it's about a minute though. You're going to have to... Hello. I could just do this, couldn't I? There we are, it works-ish.
Fucking amazing.
A bit more that way.
Oh, it's annoying all the cups all over there.
Well, who put it there then?
Some asshole that just fucking... He didn't get it. This crazy ass, long-haired, fucking bearded mentalist just walked in, took it off.
I keep telling you, you need to sack your tea, that man.
I know, but he's so good at it. He's just really crap at placing the cup.
That doesn't sound good to me.
You know, motherfucker.
Anyway, we're here now. So, hello, I'm TheSuffolkRam.
Skazz.
I'll cut that whole 10 minutes.
He says that. I doubt he
Actually, I'll tell you something.
I've heard your idea of top and tail. Like, it's just like literally, there's a little bit of fuzz at the start, that's gone. A little bit of fuzz at the end is gone, and then it's like
You'll be impressed.
You can have entire sections gone. Clap, cut that, and then we'll get to that in the podcast. Clap, cut that. Yeah. I've done it as well. I've released it and forgot.
When I
your PC is being slowed by a vast antivirus.
Yes. Talking of episode 92. Right. You know we go on for a very long rant at the end about the British school system.
Yes.
I listened back to it. To be honest, it wasn't very interesting, so I cut the whole thing out of the podcast. An hour and 10 minutes of material got deleted from our podcast.
Wow.
We went on a long time.
Yeah.
But I did put a bit of the intro and said, look guys, if you've listened to this and you really want to torture yourself and listen to us just ramble on about over an hour on the British school education system, go to youtube.com and clipped about half an hour and a half in.
I thought that was pretty much the only thing worthy of episode 92.
I don't know, it was quite funny. We discussed quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but that was the best bit and you cut it out.
Yeah. Murder your darlings.
There you go.
That's the old literary phrase, murder your darlings.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, we've gone blurry.
Focus. Stay focused.
I just went the camera, sorry.
It was like you're sat there going, I'm focused. I can't wait for the next story. Come on! He's psyching himself up.
Yeah. I'm ready to cast spells now.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm focused. I can sort of feel the power running through me. And
but then what happens when you release all that power?
You ready? This is the spell I want to cast. Teamakius! Oh, look.
Marvellous. Good job. Amazing.
Mm.
I'm not going to force summon my cup of tea. I'll probably end up spilling out of your laptop.
No, we've discussed the force and how useless it is.
Yeah, fucking. So, it's a tad toasty.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, games you've been playing. How have you been finding the streaming at the moment with the kiddie winks at home?
Actually, not that bad. I haven't been able to keep up with my 4 hours a day. But I've been able to do at least 2 hours a day.
Still on Ys, or you've moved on from Ys?
So we finished Ys 8. We finished Ys Book 1. We got mugged at the end of Ys Book 1. Got part way through Ys Book 2.
I would say I had a brilliant idea for the Ys series. They could do like a section, like an expansion of the game, but it's like sort of a part of the story that's took out the main game, sort of expand on. They could call it Ys Extract.
Good job. Good fucking job. Good job. Is that what Europe wishes they could do to the rest of France?
Yeah. That's what we're trying to do to the rest
of Ys.
I think at the moment Europe is trying to do it to the rest of us, to us mainly.
So we're the Ys Extract, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh dear. That makes sense when you realise that Ys is French. What the fuck just happened to your computer?
Oh, it just, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Just
I have never known a new computer to give someone so much crap other than Aces from like 2003.
I am at the stage where I'm just going to buy I'm tempted to buy Windows 7 and get a copy of Windows 7 for like 15 quid and just...
What processor is it? 7th gen, that should still run on.
The main real issue is the fact that it's all the bloatware that's on it. I've tried to rid off it.
I'll just reinstall Windows 10 with it.
Yeah, that's the other option. I might just do a full fresh install and try and...
Strangely enough, Stewie3D had to do the same thing with his laptop. He bought an HP Omen something. And it turns out that the thing was so fucking balked that the default OEM install of Windows was so balked that whenever he put it to sleep it would crash or something to that effect. So he had to do a full fresh install of Windows, deleting the recovery partitions.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to be doing with this, to be honest.
Would that get rid of that that
stupid Dell support says? I don't know.
Right.
On a stance I don't know. I have a feeling that's built into the BIOS.
Ew.
Well, it's been behaving itself lately.
Has what? So the fans decided to start working.
Yeah, well, it's interesting.
Or is this since you've installed Linux on here as well as a side?
Oh no, because it's Linux. The Linux boot window comes after that bit. This is right at the start of the post sequence. Now, it's sort of, I was running this the other day and I was cracking.
I think Linux threatened it a bit.
Maybe. Well, it's Kali. It's a dragon, isn't it? So it's quite scary.
Fucking dude.
That was It was doing some quite nice. It was doing a bit of web cracking. He was working for a password table.
Web is basically
not web cracking.
I was going to say
WPA cracking.
I was going to say web. You could literally just pull out your decoder. Like there you go.
I meant WPA. I was cracking WPA 2 handshake. Don't you know? And I was running for a dictionary list and I was doing a brute force attack on it to. Unless you already know the password.
Well, yeah, that's not fucking right.
You know the password and go, well, I know it starts with a 4. I'll just do numbers. I know it's got one letter in it, so I'll just put the letters and the numbers in it. I just thought, well, just to see how long it was going to take.
How long did it take?
With all just with the letters and numbers that's in the password, all possible combinations, it still took it over 2 hours to crack it.
Fucking hell.
That's at 5. It was doing 5,000 passwords a second. But yes, I was doing that, and I downloaded. I apt-get and installed a sensor tool to monitor my sensors in my laptop, the temperature sensors, and I ran it when it was doing this cracking, and it's the processor. Both cores running at 97 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, their shut off's like what 105.
100.
Oh, 100.
Yeah, so it's like maximum's 100. I was like, oh, okay. So you could boil some water with it.
Yeah, one of mine's 105, but the thermal paste has gone a bit mank on it. So if you if you go onto a web page and it's got like a JavaScript like animation of something going on in the background, if you go onto one of those pages,
256 color, that's all.
It's literally enough to cause my processor to toast itself.
Nice.
So I have to, if I'm really like that hardcore that I want to use this machine without changing the thermal paste, I have to I have to tell the processor to throttle itself, never run full bore, and 2, I have to run no scripts. The JavaScript goes away, so none of that stuff happens. Yeah. That's brilliant. Love that machine. I do. That's one of my favourite laptops I've got to throw out there. Even though it cooks itself, even though if I flip it over and put water on it, it starts to boil.
I want to get a load of old processors and make a kettle. Of old processors. Well, if you just lots of processors, thermal paste them to the size of a glass jug or something, or probably a metal jug so I'll handle the heat better, and just sort of put some water in, just sort of see. I can say, okay, I want to boil a kettle. I need to run like Crisis at full spec for a couple of hours, and they'll boil the kettle for me, just to see. It will require a lot of process, I think, to surround the kettle properly.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to use something that's like hardcore multi-threaded. I mean, because at the end of the day, like if you're using each.
But if I have lots of single cores, they'll get hotter.
Yeah.
And I can have more obvious.
But then you wouldn't want to run something like Crisis because that's more GPU heavy.
That's true.
Unless you start surrounding the kettle with fucking old graphics.
I'll start Bitcoin mining on the processor rather than the GPU.
Jesus Christ. That'll get you absolutely nowhere. And a nice big electric bill.
Well, yeah. It would be the most expensive kettle in the world.
No, I'm sure there's worse. I've just realised something. We are looking at the OBS screen, not the chat.
That's a very good point.
Look, no one! Surprise!
Anyway, yeast extract. How are you getting on?
Yeah, that was basically it. If
you really like yeast, you go yeast infection.
Yeah, fucking great. I remember actually there was a game called .hack infection. That's all that's just reminded me of. So now you've gone and said that we're going to have a yeast infection. I have to go play that on PlayStation 2. No, we played that for a bit, and then I have been playing Shining Resonance Refrain on Nintendo Switch. However, I don't remember if I've mentioned Resonance Refrain yet on the podcast.
The name rings a vague bell, but then it could have happened in pre-podcast or post-podcast chats. Shut up. Not you.
Why is your computer such a dick?
This is Windows that likes to tell you everything. Hey, look, I've downloaded something you don't want. go. No, don't. I'm going to reboot now. No, you're not. I'm going to. No, you're not.
Too late. I already have.
Yeah. No. Fuck you, man.
You're done, son. You can't tell me what to do. I'm the computer. I'm smarter than you. I'm an engineering marvel.
Yeah. I've just sent all your bank account details to Microsoft.
Oh, thanks.
I did it through over an HTTP connection as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Us. Yeah, so I started playing Shining Resonance Refrain. If I have mentioned it about the podcast, or on the podcast before, tough. It's a JRPG. It's the latest in the Shining series. Which, strangely enough, a lot of people don't know about the Shining series. It's a series that started on the Mega Drive with Shining Force. It was
Shining Force.
It was a top-down strategy game at the time, strat RPG. These days, it's a full 3D action RPG. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with Shining Force. Kind of like Final Fantasy, like none of the Final Fantasies actually have anything in common with one another.
Yeah, it's just the name.
Yeah. Shining Resonance Refrain is a remaster of, I think it was 2014? It might have been earlier than that. It was a PlayStation 3 game. It was a Japan-only release. Shining Resonance. Shining Resonance Refrain is the recent remaster, which now has an additional chapter. I believe it's an additional chapter. I think that's why the whole remaster thing came to be. So they've finally decided to release a Shining series game in this country for the first time in like a million years. I don't think we've had any since the PlayStation 2. Shining Resonance being Japanese only. Not a bad game. It's definitely better than voice acting. It's got voice acting in it. It's better character-wise, story-wise, and voice acting-wise than one of the best games. Sarcastic air quotes for the audio viewers. Than Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That was one of the big AAA games on Nintendo Switch. The voice acting in that game is fucking atrocious. Shining Resonance Refrain is a game that no one has fucking heard of, yet has a far better voice cast. Right. So the idea is you play as Yuma. I can't remember his last name. Yuma, who is the vessel of the Shining Dragon, the most powerful of the world dragons, and basically the driving force of the entire fucking story. The idea is that there is an empire raiding your kingdom, trying to gather the souls of the world dragons and the Shining Dragon to grant eternal life to their emperor. That's basically it. The kingdom that you currently reside in sends a team in to save you, and then the idea is that you basically try to thwart the empire and their magical plans by being a little whiny bitch, because Yuma is a little whiny bitch. Standard action RPG fare. You get given an area that when you run into the map, into the world map, you will see the enemies on screen. When you run into a specific enemy model, so let's say you run into a single goblin on the map, that will then give you like a Vagrant Story style ring of effect.
Yeah.
On the map, and then that becomes your battle zone, and then say like 5 or 6 goblins will come in, or a goblin and their support units will come in, and then the idea is that you fight them using your different face buttons for different attacks, and then different button combinations for different special skills, until you win, basically, and then you just give little story missions, follow the quest, follow the story, bits like that. It's neat. I think it's better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2, mechanically and presentation-wise in every area other than graphics. Graphically, it's not great, but like I said, the music is better, the voice acting is better, the story thus far is better. I remember more characters in my time in Shining Resonance.
Well, graphics aren't the be-all and end-all of the game anyway.
No, and considering it's basically a PlayStation 3 game, remade. You know, I didn't expect it to blow the world away, but considering no one has heard of the fucking game and everyone knows of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it's kind of a shame. It's going to be
this is a shout out to us because there's no one else watching at the moment. Play it.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's on PlayStation 4, PC, and Switch.
So can people see as they go to your Twitch channel?
Yes. Over on twitch.tv/Skazz.
Yeah,
I've been playing it now for 35, nearly 40 hours.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't gotten to the kind of refrain part of the story, so it has like an original mode, and then kind of the additional campaign is a separate bit that you do as like New Game Plus.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's been pretty fun. It's been pretty enjoyable. I don't like some of the characters. They're fucking goofy and stupid, but as I say, I remember more of the characters in that game than I do the AAA titles that are currently on Nintendo Switch. So
that's a good sign.
I'd say it's worth playing. I don't want to go into too much of the story or talk about the characters too much or anything, because there's the plot. The story makes it, and if I start telling people about characters and all of the other stuff that goes on, if I went any more in depth, I'd kind of ruin 30 hours of story for you. But it's worth a try if you like action RPGs. I think this one might be a hidden gem, to be fair. This one is worth picking up, and if you're a fan of the old Shining games,
you're gonna like it.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's oddly themed, but it's worth it.
Cool.
Musically themed, music and dragons. Can't complain.
Yeah, what more do you want?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I've been playing a very short game. Streamed it. What Remains of Edith Finch.
Weird house.
Bloody weird house.
Makes this house look normal. Yeah.
Walking simulator. First, but you got, if you played Firewatch, you played Gone Home, you're going to know the basic ways. Dear Esther. You walk around, and it's got a nice interface. As you walk around, she sort of speaks what's going on, because it's basically like going through her journal as you're walking around. You're hearing from her journal, because the game starts with she opens the journal up and starts reading from it. And the game, as you go through, the words appear on the screen, and they actually appear like part of the world, so you can sort of walk through them. They'll sort of fall away as you walk through. It's quite a nice sort of interface. And the basic story is your name is Edith Finch. You're the last surviving member of the Finch family, and you basically go back to the house, and supposedly there's a curse. There's all rumours there's a curse in your family that causes them all to die young. So you go back to the Finch house, which your great grandfather built, and over the course of years they've added onto and built onto. And basically your goal is that your mother took you away from the house when she was very young, when you were very young. And she never...
bloody hell, what age did she have, Edith?
She was
like 3?
She was her mother died youngish. I'm not saying die at like sort of age 10, they're all dying at sort of
like
30s and 40s, that sort of, so not
a reasonable age.
Yeah.
But still very young.
Still very young. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them though die there's quite a few that died when they were like 1 or 2 or.
Oh right, okay. So some of them didn't really get a chance.
No.
Were these did they just like die of bizarre natural causes? Like every member of the family for some reason had like cancer or were there like bizarre accidents involved?
A lot of them, they're all sort of. Most of them appear to be accidents, but there are some deaths which are open to interpretation.
Right.
And so actually how it works is you go around the family, you are guided around the house, and it's fairly linear. You can't really miss anything. You should walk your way around the house. It's quite a linear path through it. It's not a big house. It's a weird house. I mean, it wouldn't pass building regs.
I'd say, so you said that it was originally built by one of her great-grandfather. Now, so would you say that the for each new family member living in the house, they've kind of imprinted a bit, so all the eccentricities of the house are reflected by the people who are...
Yeah, and no, so basically each new family member got a new room built on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So and then if their little bizarre quirks were shown through
their room, yeah. And so you'll go through and you'll find a few things to look at. Then eventually you'll get into it's mainly in their rooms you'll find the information. You'll find could be a diary, it could be a comic book or something, and that you go into it, and that'll basically tell the story of how that person died.
Right.
So, bloody hell, that's a big jump. So you'll see basically how this person died. So I'm sorry, my leg's in the way. So it will, and these are all different ways of telling it. So like I can't remember if this is the first person you discover. It's one of her. Would have been one of her mother's. No, her grandmother's. I can't remember. It's one of her older relatives who died when she was like sort of 13 years old. And I'll spoil the first one because that's it. And she finds a little journal written by her, and the journal starts. Basically, you know how weird the game is, okay? Mm-hmm. And you start off and you play as the little girl, and she's hungry, very very hungry. She's been sent to bed at supper because she's been a bit naughty. So she gets up and she's hungry. So she wanders around her room eating things. So she eats the gerbil food. Okay. Yeah. She then eats. She goes to the fish bowl, but decides not to eat the fish in the fish bowl. She goes into the bathroom and eats a tube of toothpaste.
How old is this child?
I think about sort of 8 or 9, something like that. She then eats a.
My children are like 7. And they know how to come downstairs and sneak.
But she's been sent to she's been sent to her room. You see about supper, so she's trying to.
Oh yeah, but that's not hard for a fucking child.
No, exactly. She then eats a bit of hollyberry, and I think hollyberries are poisonous. I saw that. She then goes to her room and she sees a bird on the windowsill, on the window. So she opens the window out to sort of see the bird, and she sees it. It flies away. It's a mama bird, as she calls it. And so she then sort of goes to it. Suddenly, she's a cat, right? And you then have to chase the bird along all the tree branches, right? Eventually, you catch it and you eat and you gobble down the mummy bird, as she calls it, right? This is a disturbed child. You then turn into an owl. And you're flying around, and you have to look for things, and you see a rabbit. You go and grab the rabbit and eat and gobble down the rabbit. And she says, "Oh, I imagine how it's sort of eyes looking up at me, and I'm the last thing it sees as it gets eaten down."
This child
needs some psychological help. Yeah. Charlie's, please no. And then she goes. She's still hungry after eating the first rabbit. She needs to eat another rabbit. And she wants a big one. So she finds a mummy rabbit.
Right.
There's a lot of mummy rabbits in this. I think this is imprinting.
Right.
And she goes, grabs the mummy rabbit, eats the mummy rabbit, gobbles that down. She then turns to a shark, right, on land, and you have to sort of roll down a hill as a shark and get into the water. And once you're in the water, you then swim around and you hunt down a seal. And you bite it. The first thing you bite, you don't quite get it, so it's bleeding. You chase it down. You're hungry for blood. And then you grab it and gobble the seal down.
Right.
Yes.
How does this fucking child die? Please tell me
that
she was fucking a complete Fruit Loop and it just fell into a trash compactor.
Oh, we're getting there. You then become like a sea monster thing. It's like a snake type thing. You sort of wander around as a snake and have to sort of crawl up now. Oh, hello. Be quiet, Charles.
You can't share your opinions.
Your opinions don't count. Well, they're probably smarter than most people on the internet. You know what they say, Charles? On the internet, no one can tell if you're a dog, but everyone can tell if you're a jackass. So your breathing's going to mess up the microphone. We're going to do a silence track just for you.
Oh. Everyone wants to hear the panting of a ginger spaniel.
Yeah. So you go to sea monster. You're on a boat, and you sort of you start off on the boat. You sort of crawl onto the boat, and you sort of eat the crew of the boat. Right. You then sort of crawl down a pipe, and you crawl up the pipe, and you find yourself crawling through a toilet, and you're back it's the toilets in the girls' ensuite, and then she's in bed, and you go hide beneath the bed, and then you switch back to her as a little girl protector. She goes, "I know the monster's underneath the bed. It's waiting for me to fall asleep, but it won't wait much longer." And that's it. And she's dead. And they don't explain how she died. She was eaten by this machine monster. That's how this is sort of like bizarre to the game. But all these little deaths, all basically some of the sort of death scenes are really short. They're literally like a minute or two long, and it's not really it's more like just sort of you read a poem and that just tells you.
Yeah.
There are some which are really elaborate and amazing. So the way the baby dies is really cleverly done.
Right.
And because it's only 1-year-old baby, so it's read from obviously you can't write a perspective, but it's read. There's a letter written about him, and the person says, "I wonder what he was thinking, what he's seeing." Then you do it from the baby's perspective and see what's going on and see how it dies. The really clever one is Edith's brothers Lewis, and this is really well done. It's really, I can't. It's a perfect balance of basically he starts off and it goes by. It's written by a psychologist, and he's working in a cannery plant.
Right.
And you literally all you're doing there is basically chopping fish.
Right.
So you sit there, and you're on the production line. You literally all you're doing is you have fish, you put it in chop it, chops it, you throw on a conveyor belt. Okay, you do it repeatedly at first, and then they says, okay, while he's doing this, he started daydreaming. And you get like a little like really sort of basic like sort of almost like chalk outline drawing of like a 2D game, and you sort of wander your way through.
Yeah, sure.
So using one hand, you're using your mouse hand to like move and still process these fish.
Yeah.
And the other hand controls the character in this little bit. And as he spends time, he embellishes this world, and the little drawing gets more detailed. So it starts with this really sort of like not even like a 16-bit era type game. It's just like sort of chalk drawing. It then turns to like a 2D top-down game, then to like a isometric game, and what's doing this sort of game screen is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This represents the fact that you're drifting more and more into
the
the world, to the point where basically you can't see the conveyor belt or anything. You just see the fish appear, and you just at one point I think you can't even see the fish appear. You just sort of drag it across and automatically doing it without, and after all you find yourself just automatically doing it without thinking about it.
Yeah, you're on autopilot.
Yeah, really cleverly done. And I won't spoil how that all goes on and what happens at the end of that, but it's basically how he just drifts into this fantasy world. It's really well done. I said it's a very short game. You can play it. I played it through in one sitting in 2 hours 7 minutes.
Yeah, that's a very Dear Esther kind of game.
Yeah.
Dear Esther was about 40 odd minutes.
Yeah,
I think Gone Home was pretty short as well.
Gone Home's a couple of hours. Yeah. Firewatch, when we played Firewatch, that was about 5 hours.
That's probably one of the longer ones that I've played.
Yeah.
But then that's also probably one of the most interactive ones I've played too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. This is very much I quite like these storytelling games. I like them because you can sit down with a can of beer, you know how to think to, you can just sort of enjoy. It's like watching a TV show with a little bit of interactivity. Yeah. So I kind of like these storytelling games. And
there's nothing to stop you from going through the story.
It's meant to be listened to. It's not meant to be gated by combat sequences or anything like that. There's no. So I like those sort of games, and it's probably why I like adventure games like Walking Dead and so forth. So, but yeah, I definitely recommend it. Probably want to pick up on sale because it is quite short, or you can watch on the YouTube channel, watch the whole thing. So, but yeah, it was a very nice, neat little game.
Only trouble is it's only on Windows, which surprised me because a lot of those walking simulators end up on Windows and Linux.
It's still quite recent. It was only released last year though, so they might still port it.
Yeah, maybe. Fingers crossed.
I think it's on PS4.
A lot of them are. A lot of them have ended up on PS4. I think that's where I first heard of it. On PlayStation 4.
Well, I don't do Sony because they say a lot of them end up PS4. Do you Sony sort of encourage people to?
They do tend to go indies. They have Nintendo and Sony are the two big ones for indie developers at the moment.
Do they give them sort of subsidised rate to get the development kits, or?
I don't know if Sony does. I know that Nintendo's development kit is basically the same as a cheese toasty. So,
basically the console, isn't it?
Yeah, in their case it's really, really cheap, so you can just get in straight away. Sony's, I think, is probably a bit more expensive, but
now, recommend it. If you like War Simulators, you're going to like it. Yeah. So, it was freaky though.
They're generally all right. I just find that I have to be in the right kind of mood for that.
Yeah, you do. It's not.
But then I do the same thing with those like the Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us and stuff like that. I have to be in the right kind of groove to play them. There's only a handful of them so far that I've looked at. I've just been like, I can't play this at all. Like, what was that one that you really liked?
Walking Dead's one of my favourite ones.
No, well, it doesn't really fall into the same as a walking sim or whatever. But it just reminds me a bit of like stuff like Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead. The one with the two girls, the whiny girl. Who's
Life is Strange. Yeah.
Not quite the same kind of thing, but ugh.
Yeah, I know why it's one of the characters. And to be fair, I was put off by the characters.
My God.
Yeah, I was.
Reminds me of Heavy Rain, and fuck, I hate the characters.
I was a bit put off by the character in it, but if you put the only thing I would say about her is that It's very well explained. Especially if you play the prequel game, it's very well explained why she's like that.
But you have to be willing to play through, say, 6 hours of the main game and then.
Oh yeah.
Several, and then no.
It is. Yeah, I mean, you find to be you cut the sort. It drops the hints in the background quite early on.
I already predicted who the mad killer person was going to be when.
Oh yeah, but to be fair, I guessed the mad killer person as well. I was like, you're telegraphing who it should be. It's not going to be them. It's going to be that guy. And when the big reveal happened, it's like, yeah, I knew it.
Yeah, well, I called it after just watching my mate play it for a little while. I was like, it's that dude. And he's like, what? I was like, I'm not saying anything else. You'll see. I said to him, don't trust. And then I gave him a profession. So you know what I mean? Like, don't trust a such and such. And he was like, yeah, sure. And he didn't quite catch it. And then he's like, at the end, he's like, you motherfucker. I was like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's, yeah, I saw Colin. I'm just going to turn this around because you're gradually disappearing off screen. You were on screen.
Yeah, it's because there's a manual here now.
Yeah, there's a spaniel in the works.
It's got a sore ear, so
Well, we have no idea if that caught that. Try it again. Oh.
Bless him.
Well, it's something brown.
There you go.
Bless him. That's me for games I'm playing. Have you got any other news before we move on to anything else?
No. I want to get my Linux gaming machine set up again soon. I'm trying to rebuild
your Steam machine, or
my Steam machine. Because there's a new update for SteamOS. Because Steam's usually had an update. Has always had the new overlays tossed in and the new Discord installing chat thing.
Yeah.
That no one gives a toss about because we've all got Discord.
Yeah.
Do you know what fucking really annoyed me when people message me over Steam to talk to me?
Yeah, how dare they?
My Steam... Well, no, because my Steam machine is always turned on. And then people...
Yeah.
Well, it was up until recently, and people used to get really ratty with me if I didn't reply to them when they'd message me on Steam. It's like, because you've just got to fucking... Because there was a time when if you logged on Steam with another machine and you opened up chat, it wouldn't tell you the messages that you already had on another machine.
Yeah.
So I was like... I didn't get these messages.
It was using pop messages rather than IMAP messages.
And it was just, I was infuriating. Fucking infuriating. So what are you messaging me for? So because you're online? It's like, this machine is always online.
I've said to people before, don't message me on Steam. My machine sits at home most of the time, online, switched on, which means Steam is signed in. Mm-hmm. And I keep forgetting, well, to be honest, half the time I put myself now as away.
I put mine as, I decided not to log into the friends in the end because I was getting on my nerves.
Who needs friends?
I was getting on my nerves. Well, because I don't play online on Steam with anyone. Hardly anyone I know on PC plays anything fucking fun. I was like, oh, let's play PUBG. Fuck off. Let's play Fortnite. Kiss my ass. Like, play a fucking real game, you fucking nub-nubs. But no, they don't. They all want to play COD or Battlefield or one of them stupid Battle Royale games. Just, be gone, vile humans. I haven't got time for you. I'd rather go and fucking play... I'm trying to think of a really, really bad game. Barbie's Horse Adventure. Fuck, I'd rather go play that or play
That might have a multiplayer mode.
Yeah, playtime with the Teletubbies. I'd rather go
one of you players Ken, one as Barbie.
Stupid people. Stupid people. Do you want to play this? No, I fucking don't. I'm already sat here playing a game. You can see on my fucking Steam list. I'm already playing a game.
Yeah.
But then again, I haven't found a PC game in over 3 weeks, nearly a month.
Yeah.
It's a bit sad, really.
Very sad.
Yeah, I need to get back to Shroud of the Avatar. Did you get Shroud of the Avatar again?
I can't remember. I might have actually. I might have picked it up.
I can't. Or did I buy it for you? Because I bought pretty much everyone else I fucking care. I can't remember who I bought them for in the end.
I think
I bought like fucking 7
You definitely
keys.
haven't bought me a key or for anything, but I think I might have already had it. No, I don't have No, I don't have Shroud because that's the MMO, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't have bought me a key for that because you know you've been wasting your money.
Well, no, because it's private. It's got a private mode.
Yeah.
So you can play it in single player. It's designed to be both single and.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get back to playing that because. Although that said, the quest line that one is broken and they don't seem all that interested in fixing it at the moment. So. Good.
Well, they can't fix everything at once, can they?
Fucking broken quest system. So quest system's kind of important in an RPG.
Yeah, it certainly does. It certainly helps. What are we looking at? See what time we'll do for time. Ooh. Yeah, so the only thing I've got to talk about is TV. I've started watching a new series. It's a series that came out about sort of 5-6 years ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah, about 6 years ago, if not a bit longer.
Netflix?
Netflix, yeah.
Right.
Good on Netflix.
Yes.
Watched a lot of series for Netflix. Well, I love that they have lots of...
Crap.
Yeah. They have lots of little... Well, I like the fact that there being a lot of their foreign TV series across that we wouldn't get over here normally. And they're bringing some really good ones across, like Money Heist, Tempo the Ministries of Tempo, I think that's right. 3% was a good one. There'll be a lot of good series across, and I've been enjoying for that. And I'm watching one called Grimm.
Right.
So Grimm is it's all set. It's in sort of modern times, and the basic idea of it is that all the idea of like fairy tales,
The Brothers Grimm fairy tales are
real. Well, no, it's not like they're real, but they're not real in the sense that they actually happen, but they're based on these creatures called they pronounce, because all German pronunciations, it's all German pronunciations. I think they pronounce Wesen.
Yeah, Wesen,
yeah. And they're all based on... The Wesen are real, they're in our world, but normal humans can't see them. But there's this group of people who've been nicknamed Grimms. They're not related anyway to the Brothers Grimm, they're just nicknamed Grimms, who can see them. And it's passed down from it's genetic, and it's passed down, but you only develop the ability to see them when like your predecessor dies. So you're sort of like your living relative dies, then you'll develop the ability to see him as you switch over. And basically,
isn't this the one where the copper is the Grimm?
Yes, the detective. Yeah. And basically, the Grimm's sort of job is to not necessarily fight these people, but sort of to monitor them and police them, and make sure that the ones who are harmless stay harmless, and the ones who are potentially dangerous get dealt with. But obviously he's got to try and work within because everybody else just sees humans. He's got to somehow work within the abilities
he has to keep the illusion up.
Yeah, he has to. Yeah, exactly. So he plays detective. He's called Nick, and so he sort of develops his abilities. He's freaked out at first. So in the first episode, this girl's gone missing. And he suddenly develops his abilities. Auntie who's dying of cancer comes back. She's been a Grimm, and she says to him what's going on, and he has to sort of like look out and watch for these, and basically explains how to look through, shows him where there's all these books that people have written, all the Grimms have written. Yeah. Over time, these books almost put like a dirt shelf, and every Grimm's done it. So she's written some. He's then later on he starts writing in books what he's seen, what he's encountered, and how he's dealt with them. So people then, his predecessors will know how to fight these creatures and so forth. Because there are some which are quite harmless and nice. And there are some who are like potentially dangerous. So his main sort of friend and sort of early contact is called a Blutbad, which gets mutated in our language got mutated to the big bad wolf.
The Blueboard, you mean?
Yeah, Blueboard. Yeah.
And then you've got the Foxbrow.
Yeah, and so I can't do the German pronunciations. And so he's big bad wolf, and he basically. Sort of allies up with him early on to show him basically because he's like a reformed one, so he's vegan. Yeah, he can't eat meat and stuff because it sort of fires him up. So he sort of like show, and basically he's like sort of the living encyclopedia of how to expect, how to deal with people, and sort of their contact with the Western world, and how to deal with them. So it's quite. It wasn't the concept. When I saw it, I thought, is it going to be a case of all fairy tales actually happen? They're real. It's like no, they were just. People have exaggerated, and there's a sort of basis in, air quotes here, reality, but it's been exaggerated and so forth, and you can't apply. I mean, most of these creatures they encounter will go down just like anyone else. You can shoot them, they'll die. Yeah. So there's no sort of... Some will be here.
I was confusing it initially until you started going over it with...
Once Upon a Time?
Yeah, that might have been the one.
That's almost all fairy tale.
Yeah,
There's one of those times, you know, you get two TV shows come out roughly the same time that have been developed independently but have very similar plot lines.
Yeah.
And I think TV tropes call them dueling shows. And that was obviously
they're both alright.
Yeah, my parents liked Once Upon a Time. I've not actually seen Once Upon a Time. My parents really.
I think we watched more of that one than we did.
Yeah.
Grimm.
Yeah. But no, I've enjoyed it so far. So I'm nearly at the end of the first season. I've only just started.
It goes on for a long time.
Yeah, it's about 6 seasons, I think. Yeah. So it was a series I had never heard of until I saw on Netflix. And so
we watched it years. Well, we watched some of it years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. It's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all right. It's not. It's never. I don't think it's ever be anything Oscar winning, but it's interesting. I like the fact that they've not tied themselves too much to the fairy tale background. They've said no, we're just going to use it as sort of a background, but sort of like allow it to be a bit looser on the plan and so forth. They've not tied themselves too much.
It gets pretty mythical and mystical.
Does it?
Later on.
Yeah, I've only watched the first season. That's one I liked so much. So I'll see that there's.
Would you recommend Grimm?
Yes, I would. I'd recommend it.
Good.
Good.
That's the question you've been given.
Yeah. yes, I would.
Good evening, Annie.
Evening, Annie. That's me done, I'm afraid.
That's the whole podcast.
Yeah. So, hi, Annie. We're finished. Unless you've got anything to add.
No, not really, because I've not been watching telly. The only thing I might be able to report on is I got a copy of, because Ready Player One, the film, came out recently, didn't it?
Ready Player One?
Yes, got the cinematic release recently, and it's now on Google Play and iTunes. And
can I just guess your reaction to it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, right, okay.
But after seeing the trailer, I was really disappointed. And I complained about it in one of our earlier podcasts.
Yeah.
Because the casting is just wrong.
Yeah.
I launched the opening of it so I could see like the first 2 minutes of it. Gorgeous. The world looks fine, but
Spielberg, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
But my problem is it doesn't match the book.
Yeah. Is that part of the problem of, because when you read a book, you have in your head your own version of what the characters are like.
No, they don't match the character descriptions at all.
No.
Like they just don't. The main character Wade Watts does not look anything like how Wade Watts is described in the book at all. Not at all. Wade Watts is a fat kid. He's in no way athletic, no way at all. He considers himself quite ugly. He's out of shape. He doesn't have any matching clothes, because he's poor. He's incredibly poor, so everything doesn't fit him properly. It's all like from bargain bins and shit like that.
So basically, I should have been the main character.
But when you look at Wade Watts, well, the trick is though they've got Wade then dressed like you or me or Chalky, so like they'd be wearing like a plaid shirt or something, or like a jacket and jeans. It's like. But Wade's a complete and utter fucking outcast. Like, outright, he looks like a fucking mismatched numpty in the book. But in this, he's just dressed in casual wear. Even when they explain his first... when they explain the Oasis and the equipment used to get into the Oasis. In the book, at the start, he has incredibly basic gear. Just a pair of haptic gloves and his visor. In the film, they show him with a full treadmill setup for it, which he doesn't get until way later in the book.
Yeah.
Way later in the book. But this is...
Is that because they had to sort of fit the book into
maybe,
the
but then if that was how they were going to do it, they shouldn't have put it in the back of an abandoned van.
Yeah.
A high-tech piece of Oasis equipment, a full-blown immersion rig in the back of a van that he's running on 12 volts. No. Just no. I mean, he could have sold that immersion rig right there and been minted. So half of the story would have been pointless. And the fact that it was just left there in the...
So why doesn't it in the book?
Because he doesn't have it in the book. In the book...
I thought he got it later on.
Yeah, because he's already rich by that point. Because he managed to buy his own. The one at the start of the film and in the start of the book, his immersion rig is something that he gets from school, because he goes to school in the virtual reality environment, the Oasis, and his idea of his immersion rig is literally like a deck chair, a fucking metal lunchbox to keep rats out of it, and just a little tiny computer that's the size of like a book to run his visor, and then him sat on the chair with his haptic gloves going like this to move his Oasis character around. Whereas in the film, literally within the first few minutes, they show you him running around on a multi-directional treadmill in the back of this van. But that's like a fucking really expensive piece of kit that he gets later on after he starts earning money in the game. So the whole point of Wade is that he is so poor, he literally can't even... He's an egg hunter. You have to... The only real thing you have to pay for in the Oasis is travel and items. To be in the Oasis is completely free. And because he's been... When you first log in, you go to Incipio.
That's like Second Life.
It is. You go to Incipio, which is like a big mall planet, and you can browse shops and things like that, and that's where a lot of people stay. He couldn't afford to go anywhere else, but when he enrolled into school in the Oasis, he got sent to Lutus, the planet of learning, and because he was given a ticket to go there, the school system paid for him to go to Lutus to go to school. He now can't leave because he can't afford it. There's no way for him to earn the money on Lutus to go around the Oasis. He has no money in real life to pay for this stuff. But there's a point in the story where he finds a way to get that money, to get off of Lutus, to then be able to move out of the hellhole that he's living in now, to go and buy himself a proper immersion rig. And
so, is the Oasis, was it created by EA by any chance?
No. The trick with the Oasis is that it's supposed to be the last free place on the planet. Because
you got to pay for travel.
Well, that's the thing that they use to keep it open. Because the hardware is free. You just literally say, yeah, I want to sign up. And then they give you your Oasis account and the computer you need to get in there. You don't need to buy... Like, imagine an HTC Vive, and then Valve and HTC are like, fuck, man, that's a $500,000 piece of kit. Have one.
Yeah.
That's what the company behind the Oasis does. They just give you the hardware. The basic hardware to get in is free. Completely free. Membership to the Oasis is free. Walking around the Oasis is free. You can earn money in the game. So like in-game credits, the Oasis credit, is worth more than the US dollar. Worth more than the pound. Because the whole world has fallen to pieces. So if you go out and kill like kobolds and whatever, you can scrounge up copper pieces for Oasis credits. And then you can buy real things or transport or travel around the Oasis. So you don't have to have real money to travel around the Oasis. You can just get gold in the game.
Yeah. But it takes quite a lot of work.
Depends on where you are, but considering he's in a non-PvP environment or a non-PvE environment, he is literally in a neutral zone for school. So there's not supposed to be any fun things for him to do there. He's just supposed to go to fucking school. So there's no monsters to kill, there's no quests to do. The idea is that if you wanted a quest to do, well then you'd go to a teleportation station and say, I want to go to Azeroth, because World of Warcraft is in the Oasis.
Oh, that's cool.
Star Trek. The entire universe of Star Trek is in the Oasis. So if you wanted to reenact or travel around the universe, you could, if you wanted to. If you wanted to go and decapitate a Wookiee, you could go to the Star Wars universe. You could do that. You could pay to be teleported to the sector of the Oasis that is the Star Wars universe and then murder a Wookiee, if you so wish. Back to the Future, completely real. EverQuest, it's in there. Think of like a classic game, Sonic the Hedgehog, it's in there. If you wanted to run around as a version of Sonic the Hedgehog, you could do it. They've remastered Sonic the Hedgehog. They've remastered Doctor Who. You could reenact entire episodes of Doctor Who in the Oasis if you wish. because they are the only real company making money in this world. Because the Oasis is the only real thing that's profitable, shy of being an internet service provider. Pretty much every other business has fallen through. We have let the world decay because we now do everything in the Oasis. We develop products in the Oasis. We develop hardware in the Oasis. And then there's like a few fabrication plants that will just say, right now we can distribute it. Like, you can order a pizza in the Oasis and then a real pizza delivery guy will come to your door and give you the pizza. They will drone it in. They show that in like the first few minutes of the film, that a guy has ordered a pizza and he lifts up his goggles as the little drone just drops the pizza box next to where he lives. You know, that how people are just completely they just completely ignore the world around them and how it's fallen to ruins or fallen to ruin because they've got the game. The game is the paradox.
It's a bit like a voluntary Matrix in a weird way, isn't it?
Yes, but yeah, because no one wants to deal with the problem. No one wants to deal with the fact that the world is falling apart. We're nuking each other for what resources are left. So people are just like, nope, this is free. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to do drugs, and I'm going to chill out in the Oasis. I don't have to work out there. I can go get a job in here. I can be a telemarketer.
Is it though a case of, is there like sort of society split into groups? There's a group who just play the Oasis, and there's groups who don't. So it's like, is there like, or it's a case of nearly everybody does the Oasis?
Everyone is in the Oasis. Like, hardly anyone does anything outside in the real world. They don't do it. They just don't. A few people might have jobs in the real world, but then I think they establish in the game that in the book that even like tech support jobs, you need to have a degree to get, because there's so many people that are unemployed. So they're having to really cut the fat to find people that actually want to work. Yeah. There are people who literally sell themselves into slavery just to be able to get a roof over their heads. People just can't afford to live. There are people who will, murder someone for their Oasis equipment to sell it, or a lot of people just loot one another constantly and just fucking die doing drugs on stuff. Like, that's how Wade explains that his mum dies. His mum fucking shot up a dirty batch of shit in her arm and she's dead. Yeah. Even though she was working 2 jobs in the Oasis to keep him going, she was still so depressed because of the way the world was. She ended up getting fucked up. It's an escape. It's the ultimate form of escapism. The guy who invented it basically created the world's prison, but then he passes away, and the idea is to find an Easter egg in his game, like what he used to do in games when he was a child, and whoever finds the Easter egg inherits his entire company.
No, we should never trusted Lord British.
There you go. Actually, it is very much Ultima and Lord British-esque, to be honest. It's a neat story. I like the book. I just don't like the casting for the film. The film could be brilliant. But I don't like the casting. I mean, they went into great detail about how these characters should look and act. And straight away, they've just started like, oh, can't explain that, cut the fat. And it's like, Wade looks...
Yeah, that is true of any film that tends to...
Well, even like look at Game of Thrones.
On,
some Game of Thrones characters are horribly deformed, but they're not in the show.
Yeah.
Because one, you can't air it, and 2, it's just so much work to make them look like how.
It would be because Tyrion is meant to have his nose missing, isn't he? Yeah. But basically, how much money would spend just trying to rent? Did either CGI cost or be a
so they just said screw it, we'll just go with it.
That was a practical reason.
Yeah,
as well.
And I mean, there's reasons for doing that in Ready Player One, because in the Oasis you make yourself look like how you want to look. Yeah. So there's no such thing as like a transgender person in the Oasis, because if you want to be a woman, you can be a woman. If you want to be a unicorn, you can be a unicorn. If you want to be
Second Life, then.
No, it literally is. This whole thing is very Second Lifey. There is no. Well, obviously sexuality is still very much a thing, but I mean, like, a woman can be a man can be a woman, an old man can be a child. They can relive their lives how they want. They actually say how Wade says in the book how one of his teachers, you don't know if that's how the teacher actually looks, or it could be a little old Inuit woman, chill out in XYZ place on the planet, but maybe she's just adopted this look for as a way to get her students' respect. Because you can mask your voice, you can hide pretty much everything about yourself in the Oasis. Anonymity.
Oh, it's got VoIP then.
Yeah, well, the whole is imagine virtual reality, what we all imagine virtual reality to be, and then the internet, and then mush it all together.
Yeah.
Like everything is in this thing. Like if you wanna watch TV, it's all on the Oasis, and for the most part, it's
Destroyer of cables.
It's free. I will watch it. Look, as I was not really all that into some of the characters.
I might give it a watch as well, because it might be interesting to see the different opinion of someone who's read the book as opposed to someone who's not read the book.
I believe, actually, because Chalky, who's been on the podcast a few times, he mentioned the film to me. He's like, I don't want to watch this because everyone's told me it's just a rip-off of all these other, like, really, really popular franchises. And I was like, have you never read the book? And he was like, no. I go, there's a reason why all of these series are referenced in the book. It's not just a cash grab to get people to go and watch the film. So I actually explained the premise of the book, the plot of the book, and he was like, oh, that's actually quite interesting then. So they didn't just take all these series and mush them together to make, oh look, there's fucking a DeLorean and stuff like that. I think he's gone and seen the film. I haven't asked him what he thinks of it yet, but he quite liked the book. Maybe we'll have to get Chalky in to talk about it.
Yeah. At
some point. I reckon you should read it in fairness, Nick. It's not a particularly huge book. I read it in an afternoon.
Oh, okay.
And there's an additional piece that I'll link to you as well. It's a fanfic of one of the characters that I think really fucking makes the book. Like it really.
It's not often we recommend fanfics.
It caps it off very well. I won't spoil about who it's about because that's kind of the ending of the extra piece.
Yeah.
But it really does like explain the motivations of some of the other characters and how they ended up where they are. That isn't explained in the book. You just assume, oh, that's just XYZ person and they're motivated because of money or something. And it turns out there's actually a deeper reason for why and how they turned into who they are, all because of this thing. In one version of the book, it was printed in the book too, but most of them don't have it in there. So I tend to pass it on to people and say, now you've read the book, now read this, and they're like, whoa, fuck. And I was like, and Ernest Cline has signed off on this and said that's canon, that's part of the story. It's just not included in the book.
Yeah. So is there has he read any sequels to Ready Player One, or was it standalone?
It's just Ready Player One. He's done a few other books. I think he's done one called Armada, which is, I don't really know what it's like. But what's that film where you have people like playing a video game to learn to become like space pilots, starship pilots?
Not Last Starfighter.
It might be.
The one from the 80s.
Yeah,
they don't realise they're playing. They're just playing arcade games.
Yeah. And it turns out it's an actual real thing. I think Armada is the same kind of idea as that. Yeah. But I haven't read that one yet. And so Ready Player One's an alright book. I was quite surprised when they actually did the film because of all the fucking licensing in it. I mean.
Yeah, but when your name's Spielberg.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think
if it was Joe Bloggs.
Well, you got to think though. Ready Player One, Ernest Cline. No, I didn't know who Ernest Cline was. The only thing I know he'd done was Ready Player One. So the idea that he had managed to, one, get Spielberg in to do the fucking film, and two, has managed to get all of the licensing rights, even only briefly, for this film is fucking mental. There must be millions in licensing alone. Fucking loads of different series are mentioned in that thing. Yeah. Video games, fucking books, bands.
I mean,
it's a massive nostalgia trip.
I think you can get away with mentioning things, can't you? It's when you actually show stuff from the series.
They do. The trailer alone shows like fucking 30 or 40. Like Blade Runner is shown in it.
Yeah.
Fucking Gundams are in it. Iron Giants are in it. DeLoreans are in it.
If it's Spielberg, is it produced by Fox? If it's Spielberg, or he's got DreamWorks, hasn't he? Because it depends how many of these other licenses fall under their banner. Yeah. In which case, obviously, it costs them nothing effectively.
Sure. I haven't looked into who owns what, but I mean, they even had like fucking some of the rarer Japanese giant robots and kaiju in it.
That's okay. Don't bother telling them; they'll never know.
Yeah, don't tell them that. Oh, looks a different colour. It's different. But I will watch it. I
might see if I can watch it. I might see if I can try and watch it for next week.
I mean, the book is cheap, or you can get it on Audible for like $7. I reckon it'll probably take you about 6 hours to read it through. To be honest, it's not a very long book. I read it in an afternoon when I was looking after the boys. And the film, I think, is like 2 hours long, and that's like another like $10 or $15 on iTunes or Google Play or whatever. So
let's see if you can pick up through see if it's on Amazon or something.
Yeah, I'd say check out both and see what you think. So it'd be an interesting to have a bit of a discussion with you to see how you felt.
I will try and what I'll do is I will watch it before I read the book.
Oh, okay, interesting. So you'll have the reverse of it then.
Yeah, and then I'll read the book and see how that makes my opinion change. Because I do feel a lot of it is I do find that I have a terrible trouble when I'm not very good at visualising things in my head, and that's got a purpose. So when I read a book, I've got no reference point. I really struggle to visualise things. However, I've seen the film version of it first, or TV version of it first. I've got that in my head.
You base it on the thing you saw in the film.
Yeah.
But see, that's fair. But like I say,
that's me. I struggle to visualise
when they say to you that Wade Watts is fat.
Yeah.
And they say to you that he couldn't basically dress himself if you put him on if he was due to go up on a catwalk. Basically, if they say to him like he's got clothes that don't fit, they don't match, he's practically stolen them from food banks from clothes banks. They're like the fucking things that are at the bottom of the streets and that for people. Like he'll end up wearing like a fucking puffer jacket and like a pair of torn jeans or some shit. Like they will actually say what he's wearing, only to then show him in the film, and he's not a skinny dude by any stretch, but I mean, he's not a chunk dude like they explain in the fucking book. Like Wade Watts can't run more than like fucking 15 feet. Yet in the film, he's hopping around like fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And sprinting, no problem at all. He just doesn't match the description in the book. You don't even have to visualise it. I mean, they literally tell you what he's wearing.
Yeah.
And yet, when you see him in the film, he dresses like a normal guy.
Yeah. As
if he has a bit of cash already, and he doesn't. Like, he is so poor, he can barely afford cereal. You know, he lives in a sleeping bag next to a tumble dryer. In a crowded flat. Well, in a crowded caravan. So
there you are. Well, I say I'll try and watch before next podcast, and then we can have a debate then.
Sure.
Cool.
Sounds like a plan.
Anything else?
No, that's it. That's my mini rant over. I'm probably going to watch it later on.
Cool.
Not tomorrow.
So, well, I'm TheSuffolkRam.
Skazz.
You're watching episode 94, and it's been an eventful episode, thankfully.
Yeah, like I managed to like pull something out of my ass right there. Read that one fucking film.
Yay! So we'll see you in a fortnight.
Yay!
Bye. Oh shit!
Oh no, he's dropped it! He's
fucking
dropped it!
It's fine. It's alright. It's fine. It's just all on the floor. It's still good. It's still good.